our live show today, and I'm very excited to have Paulina joining me today, one of my dear friends from Belo Horizonte, Brazil. How are you doing today?
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. I'm all when I see you. So right now, I'm feeling so happy and excited. This spontaneous gathering.
Yeah, it's very spontaneous because we talked about this for some days, and then uh, you were available yesterday, and I was out yesterday. So you have an event today in about 2 or 2.5 hours, but we have a spontaneous opening for us to join with each other and with the whole universe. So maybe we can start. Maybe you can start with your practice of Curso em Milagres, it's called in Brazil, A Course in Miracles in Brazil. And maybe you can just share a little bit about your introduction or how we came together. And there's a lot going on. This is a very much of a centerpiece of your life. So maybe you can just share with everyone so they get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, sure. I'll do my best here with my English. But yeah, the Course in Miracles came to me in a very challenging life. I used to be like a seeker. I learned and I studied like many other paths before the course. So everything you can imagine, like healing, coaching, PNL, LPN, I don't know in English.
NLP,
Neurolinguistic,
I think.
LNP, yeah.
Neuro linguistics programming. That's it.
And a lot of attraction, physics, quantum physics, even medicine, alternative and integrative medicine, like everything. And I had like beliefs, but my heart wanted like go deeper. And I created like a project that became a company because at the meantime I was like a worker in the world, like I was like a business girl. I had all this plan for me, like to have like a career, success, and get married and all this like and I think when I got this, I was so empty and so sad. Like I had many episodes of depression in my story as Pauline. And after like all this seeking, not really finding, I built this project to try to save people. I did that. So the project was like, it looked beautiful. Like it was like self development and like had many things that I studied at the time. Oh, he's loose.
a guest appearance. Oh,
Yeah,
adorable. Look at those
she is my
eyes.
mom.
Yeah, she's graced us on the set here in the middle of our live.
And she is an important part of the learning, actually. She is my little angel. Spirit sent to me.
Yeah.
So I built this project and this partner, and everything was like growing so like we were like became famous and all this stuff. So suddenly, like no, she felt too. So we had like this breaking up, the end of the project, and it was like devastation for me. Like I thought I was building, thought it was like doing something great for me and for the world, but yeah, wasn't. And then I knew the Course of Miracles at the time. Like I studied, like and oh, it's beautiful. But after that, I had a mystical experience with the book and deep prayer when I realized that I I had no idea what I was doing here in the world, and I thought I did.
Mm-hmm.
So then I remember like the day that I go to Spirit, and I didn't know at the time what that means. Like I just gave myself, give my life, everything, and I because this partner, she wanted to fight the name of the project, and I was like, no, I don't want to fight. I don't want to honor this. I in my heart tell me like something wrong, and I said, if I asked, like I always felt guided, but in my own way, but I did ask it like directly, and I said, Spirit, if there's some at that time I couldn't hear like Jesus, but and I said like I love angels and fairies, and I say, okay, if there's someone there, please talk to me, send me a symbol that I'm not, and if I decided not to fight, you will be. And then I thought like I want to see a bird. Like if I meant to give her like everything we built, like the name, everything, like the students, me a bird today. I'll just see a bird and feel.
Yeah.
And then the whole class, and I didn't see a bird. And like I saw birds everywhere. At that time, I was living in São Paulo. And in the end of the day, I was like reading the book and starting to go to sleep. And I was like switching off the lights of the bedroom. Emotion because so deep. I saw this little bird with a Holy Spirit symbol. I student gave it to me. And then at that time I didn't want to see, and was there in my room the whole day. And then I heard, "Is this a bird? Don't, it's not." And I said, "What is he?" And the Spirit was talking directly. This is a bird.
Yeah.
And then I started to cry on my knees, and I said, "Okay, I give you my life, you everything."
It's touching. Yeah.
Yeah, I did, and everything changed, like completely, like everything. I left my job, I left my career, all I had, and I started to feel guided. Like I heard, like because like this project we did like, and we had one next week. That's why she wanted to fight for the name, and the person that at the time like Paulinha, I need you, like the company paid for this event, I need you there. And I was like broken inside. I was devastated. But I think my trust grew this mystical experience.
Yeah.
And then I heard, I need you there. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea how it's gonna be. And when I was like arriving, this hurt, Frequência do Amor. And I said, okay. And since then, like, Frequência do Amor, I'm following this Frequência do Amor path that I had, in that Jesus really carried me, like, beyond all these attacks. This partner is starting to attack me on social media. I was very angry. Of course, now I know it's my reflection of my mind, but at that time I felt attacked. I felt judged. It was terrible. And then, but Spirit was carrying me beyond through this Frequência do Amor, because I was like testing the course, like whole day
Yeah.
and learning I could watch without this really me. So yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
it.
That's amazing. Well, it's beautiful because I think that's so helpful. First of all, that you were a seeker and looked at so many paths. You gave your heart, your mind to so many paths, and we call that leave no stone unturned. You were turning up all the stones and seeking, and I think many people can identify with that. And then also, I think many people can identify with this drive to be successful in the world, even as a life coach, even with a project we'll call it self-development or human development. That's very big in the world. Self-help. There's so many life coaches now, and I think what's your journey is showing, though, that when you really call on the spirit, whatever name you use, whether you're just praying to the angels or your higher self or your intuition, that that there is an aspect where things start to fall away. I had that too in my experience, where things would fall away. And when they would fall away and it felt devastating, I just wanted to hide or run the other way. And the spirit would take me right into meeting with the person or doing something that had been planned. It's like kind of like walking through the fire. And at the time, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would I'm just leaving this? Why would I go back? This reminds me when I left a graduate program at the University of Cincinnati called school psychology. And then I went into in the same building, another major, which was called educational foundations. And so I had to face all what seemed to be scowling faces and eyes that were mad at me, that thought I was a traitor or a betrayer to the one program because I shifted to another program in graduate school. And I thought, of all the places, just get me out of here. And the spirit was like saying, no, yeah, you have to face every person and see them without a grievance. See beyond the anger, see beyond the challenge. So for you, it sounds like it was also that, but it was also giving you the name of frequency d'amour that you would use and have used with the Holy Spirit, with Jesus, for some time now. And that's been there's so many miracles that came with that. So you were even given the name and to publicly speak, to introduce the name, because people would say, oh, that's a heartbreaking story from a branding perspective. You put so much energy and you build so much, and then it's like a partner says, I want it all, just give it all to me. And you got your bird sign and generously said, take it. That it takes such humbleness and such steadfast devotion to really follow your intuition, because you could probably find 20 people saying, are you crazy? You worked hard for that. It would be like going through a divorce and just saying, take everything. And people, all the friends going, are you crazy? You worked hard. You need your share. You should, there should be maybe a mediator to decide the name thing, or, a legal person. And no. The spirit was like, I've got you. I'm going to carry you. And now tell us a little bit about Frequency d'Amour, how the miracles just came so fast.
Yeah, so fast. Yeah, at the beginning was so challenging because I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't. Every day I wake up and say, Frequency d'Amour, Jesus, I need to ask every day. But at the beginning, I didn't know. Like, I was like starting with the book, so I didn't have the metaphysics so like deep in my mind. So when I realized that I needed to go public, my no, you don't. So every time I need to record a video or do an event, like I cried. It's really, really, really hard for me, like to, and I was just watching my resistance and really judgments and these doubts. But at the look that I was like terrible, that I didn't know how to I was doing, and I was crazy, and all this reflection. I did have like many friends said to me, Paulina, you did this company, you're crazy. And I just heard like, Spirit, don't look back. And I didn't. Like I throw my CV away. I throw like all the books we write, as you did too. Everything we did, like many materials to the workshops and the events we did, like I throw everything away, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful, but at the so like confusing, like wasn't like, it was a huge conflict for me, because I was like, come on, calling you, and I'm still suffering. What's going on? I need to get back.
Yeah.
I should get back and earn money and all these doubts.
Yeah, the back and forth in the mind, because I think a lot of times people feel, well, if I have a mystical experience and I do what I'm guided to do, that I should have an easy life. And it's almost like the angels are laughing, like, oh, you're at the beginning. You said, yes, that's wonderful. You gave your life over. That's wonderful. But then all the unconscious darkness starts just coming up. And then you do have feelings of going back to work, back to another plan, try another plan B or something. But you persevered. I think that's the thing. You stayed with it. And you just have to let go of the judgmental thoughts that really are self-criticisms, whether they're coming from other people or whether they seem to be in our individual mind. They're still just self-criticisms.
Yes. And I still do, like I still have thoughts, and I think it's important to share with like all our world, because and Jesus knows that, like he the doubt goes and comes and goes. So do, and I think he's feeling to share like one darkest moments with the amor, and when after I said yes to Jesus, to Spirit, and to the course, I started like I was in a very dark, and I had this thought, like, this is crazy. Like I'm watching like around, and I so different and crazy, really crazy. And then I had this prayer, like, how can I follow what you were like saying in this book? Like it seems to me that it's impossible to live this in this world. It seems impossible, even like with all that miracle, many things I had, like many mystical experience, like even then I was like doubting, and I was like in a place. And and of course that state start to reflect in everything, like in my relationship, because after this event, like I gave it Spirit, and I said, okay, you are in charge. I'm not gonna choose like where I'm gonna work, who I'm gonna be with. Like you let me know. And the Spirit brings me Gabriel. That is my day. And but at the beginning, like he wasn't like, he had like nothing that Pauline wanted. Like he was you know, like this girl live of like a perfect man.
Yeah.
There, like like when I was like in frequência do amor, like when my mind, because for me is like the right mind. when I was like with his right mind, I knew that was him. Like I knew, and that the decision I made was like, but my mind wasn't trained, and I was like going to frequency do medo, the frequency of and one of the time like in frequency do medo, frequency of fear, and starting to question even this really, because we were like engaged like for, I think was like we spent like many times engaged. Well, I was feeling guided to move back to Belo Horizonte. He lived to live with him, but I had like many doubts and really dark, and so prayer, and we were like here in this apartment we were in the jacuzzi. Yeah. We were like talking about the jacuzzi, and we were like talking. He said, "Oh, I'm feeling that I see you reading some videos in English with someone." And I loved him. I was like, "Shut up!" I was like having trouble to record videos in Portuguese, and now you're like sharing this vision that I'm videos in English. And then he was like, "Oh, look, and it was you." Like he's talking about persevere.
So Gabriel was like the bridge. He's the
You
angel
are.
Gabriel.
Angel Gabriel. But I was so in dark, like I couldn't sleep. Like I just said, no, I can't talk about this course, even in Portuguese, English. No, shut up. And because he loves to like, and he was like hearing you reading the course and the lessons, and he kept like going. And I was in this dark, but to questioning like, should I stay with him? Like what I'm doing with my life, really? And then I saw that you were like, I saw an event to Brazil, and I was like, I have to go. And I did. And when I got there, like you were showing the Take Me Home movie. In the end of the Take Me Home, there was like a Susanna and Jeffrey married, and I was pissed off. Like, come on, like a movie about the course showing a marriage, and so this really triggered me as I saying, and was so profound and deep to me, like just to watch you guys living like the course really. And I said, yeah, this is definitely an answer of my prayer. Like it is possible to live in this world, and thank you, Jesus, to show doing that.
That's beautiful, because I remember you took the flight from Belo Horizonte to Sao Paulo, and we were in this yoga center, very kind of long, narrow yoga center, and it was showing the movie, and it was pounding rain on the roof, and then I think you might be able to tell the story that after it, you just heard some people talking about, David's now going with Francis and Svava to do a retreat kind of out in the rural areas, in the jungle. So you were intrigued about that, and then the person that you happened to speak to in the lobby of the yoga retreat was our friend Luis, who was organizing the event and looking to bring people and invite people. He's such a generous man. You know, here he is. He flies us down there, and then he arranges a retreat in the jungle, and then he just starts inviting people, saying, "Oh, it's a birthday party for my friend Fernanda. I'm just going to start inviting guests." And just so tell the story. You ran into him at the yoga center, and you really didn't have luggage. You weren't prepared to go off into the jungle for a retreat.
I think it was the first time that I felt this divine providence, because yeah, I was really touched with Terry, with your presence. Like Francis was there, I think there too, Svava. And I was so touched. And I this calling, I heard the calling, heard them talking that you're gonna do a retreat. At that time, I didn't have I had nothing. Okay, I need to go. I have to be there. And then I talked to one friend that was there. It's like, how's it gonna work? Like, I want to be at that retreat. And she was like, oh no, it's just like a private group. Luis is organizing. And I said, Luis. And then he was like, when I asked her this, he was like falling down the steps. And then she said, and then he looked at me and said, yeah. And I said, what? I didn't remember him, but he was a friend of one boss that I had. Left my job. I work like with a meditation event people, and I met him in one of these meditations, and he remembered me. And I said, okay. And I said, I want to go to this retreat. And he's like, lucky because we had one place left because one year, I think, I don't know what happened, but she was able to go. So we have one place left. And I said, what? I said, okay, let's go. I didn't ask how much was it, how it's gonna work. People borrowed me clothes, and I was like, it was actually, and I went, and like, then I had to say, David, thank you so much, because after meeting you, the community, like my path with the course, and I think, it's everything, like my understanding, my devotion, I have no words to thank you and to say.
Yeah, we all felt you. I think the very first morning we were just sitting around the breakfast table, and you were so curious, and just one question after the next, and really I could feel your presence was very much like you were just saying, oh, I'm so drawn to this being my life's calling. And everyone could feel it. I would go back, and Francis and Slava would say, wow, Paulina, did you see her? Wow, she's so sincere. She's so authentic. Wow, she just showed up through a miracle, and then it helped everybody go there, because Luis had handpicked a whole group of people. Most of the people there that he handpicked were just, they didn't even know of the course. They never had heard of A Course in Miracles. And what a deep dive we all took, because a lot of them were very young, and in terms of maybe in their 20s or 30s, and they were so curious. They were like sponges. I think Renata, she was an actress. She was there, and curious questions. The whole group was like a sponge, like a giant sponge. And then finally, when we got toward the end of the retreat, we all took a walk down to a room, a wooden building that would be like a room to show the movie. And it was actually, Luis had heard something. The movie had something to do with an ark. And I said, an ark? And I went, oh, that's got to be Evan Almighty. And so we go in there, and we have this deep movie about a modern day kind of Noah's Ark, Listen and Follow, and Evan Baxter. Was a hilarious movie. But once we got to the point toward the end of the movie where there was a giant storm and a flood, the rains came pounding down on this wooden, it looked like we were in the ark, and then the doors blew open, and the rains blew in on us, and everybody was like, is it a movie? what's happening? Because it looked like we were in an ark and the rains were pounding. And it was a mystical experience. I mean, I remember the look on everyone's face. They're like, is this for real? Like, is this the Holy Spirit playing with us? And the eyes, Luis's eyes were so big, like, I heard an ark. Oh, I heard an ark. And so I think
And
there's
this thing, like he was holding this thing,
a
like
cane, a stick. Yeah, like Noah had a stick. He had one too. So I think what the whole point of all of it was why the Holy Spirit and Jesus have so much fun with us when we just listen and follow. You didn't even have you just brought clothes for one night, and then you were going to fly back to Belo Horizonte. Then everything shifted, and then we find ourselves out in the jungle. I still look at the photo, our group photo. The people are just so beaming and so happy because they're astonished, like, oh my gosh, this is really a pathway to God. This is a real pathway to God. It's not like a theory. It's not like a theology. So that was quite amazing. And then since then, I've come back there. We've come back down to Brazil. You've come to Mexico. You've come to our Living Miracles Monastery. You had a snow miracle. You don't see too much snow, but one day you walked out and I looked out my window here and you were like jumping and jumping like a little girl dancing in the snow. Like it was like, I said, it looks like a snow miracle going on out here, a blizzard. And Paulina is a happy like a little girl in the snow, just playing and playing.
Yes. And at the same day, we had like sun shining. Remember, we were like,
Yeah,
we went trip. So
yeah, we went to Duchesne on a road trip, and then the snow stopped, the sun came out, and then we were going to a restaurant, and I was telling you about a guy there, a farmer who I'd met once, who was so into God. And then we go in, we sit down, the farmer is there and comes up and starts looking you and Gabriel in rural Utah in the eye and speaking, telling you your whole life about what you need to watch for. And it was like prophesying. And it's good that you both spoke English because you're in rural Duchesne County there. And it was another miracle. We just had so many miracles. It was just amazing.
It is.
Yeah. So the angel Gabriel has now you've married him. So now the angel Gabriel is the husband Gabriel. And it's so beautiful because when I first met Gabriel, I think you flew up to Mexico and then he came shortly thereafter. And so I got to meet him and I thought, wow, he's like a heavenly businessman. He's a pretty calm person for somebody who's kind of jet setting around the world in a business. And then just like you went through so many radical shifts. I guess these last years for Gabriel have been so radical. Just like you lost your company, and you gave it away. he's kind of he kind of was away, and then they wanted him to be the chief officer, and then so he's going through, both of you, like a fast unwinding of the ego, and even building a house, getting married and building a house. And he was starting to sound a little more like a friar, like Saint Francis. Then we saw him, and when he came here to the monastery, they said, "Did you see that man in the gathering room with the glowing eyes?" And I said, "Yeah, that's Paulina's husband, Gabriel." So the business self-concept is like, wow, he met you, and then he was the messenger at first, and then all of a sudden he started going through this big unwinding. He's getting more saint-like and less business-like.
Yes. And it's so funny because like the self-concept, like when we watch it, like it doesn't make sense. Everyone really working the It's like he's identified with that. And but it's been a journey for him too, and even with our relationship to really practice. And we are so grateful to because of that, because we felt so alone here, like practicing in the course and sharing these ideas. And at the beginning, we had no idea what was going on with our relationship, and we were like guided to really clean the mind through our relationship. So we episodes about sex, drugs, many things that we needed to face it, like using the course, like to really heal the mind and to learn how to use this relationship, like to heal the mind. So the beginning was challenging, but now we're experiencing many miracles. Even our marriage day, like during this ceremony, everything was so happened so much, and yeah, but it's
the music.
it's
I heard you had a miracle song that came in before the wedding, and then you just knew that that would be before your wedding.
yes.
Yeah.
Spirit gave a beautiful song that called "I Choose You," and the lyrics like says that we will live mountains, we will move mountains, we will live on our knees. And it's beautiful, like how was like to as a reminder, like purpose for this marriage. And then came this house that we had no idea how, but we felt guided to buy it. It is in the mountains, close to Horizonte here. And we are like in this process, gave this house to the spirit, and being challenging, a lot of intensity with everything that you know about the white kitchen and all references like this. Even doubt many, it's been very intensive, this process of building this house.
Yeah.
Knowing that we don't want to be nothing in the world, only like let spirit uses everything like to bless and to heal.
Yeah, that's like it's almost like a classic story of awakening. Like you have your business kind of taken away from you very suddenly, and then you kind of get down on your knees and call on help and say, okay, I'm willing to give it all over. And then it sounds like you really felt like, I'm giving you my relationships over, I'm giving my career, I'm giving my life, I'm giving my future over to you, Spirit, to you direct the way. You tell me who I'm to be with, you tell me what I'm to do. Spirit gave you the frequency d'amore, gave you the name, laid everything out. There still were the struggles. And then, of course, in relationships, it's not only you have to deal with the issues of drugs and sexuality and communication and all that, which is everyone knows is very intense in intimate relationships. But then on top of that, it sounds like both of you were unwound from your careers to be used as messengers, kind of messengers of the spirit. And then there were even family things. Like my mom is saying, when will you have a child, and all the expectations that come in from family. So you had to face all those and work through all those. And then now with this house coming in, it's interesting to build a house and to let it be a backdrop for healing. All kinds of expectations come up, and what about this, and I prefer this, well, I prefer that. And it's good when you start to see it all in that context of just forgiveness lessons, of just releasing preferences and grievances and judgments. Then it's not like you're really trying to build something in the world, you're just following the guidance. And it may look to the world like, oh, a happy married couple, and oh, they're building a house out in the rural on a mountain. It sounds like a movie of the week, and yet on the inside, it's the intensity. It's like the purging of all the thoughts and the beliefs. So yeah, what a teaching device! You're kind of living out the dream. As most people would say, that's the dream. You get married, you build a house together, you go off, you live your lives together, you grow old, and you die, and you're going for eternal life through forgiveness, which is a very different route than the common dream of time. Yeah.
Yes, yes. As you say always, like, looks like a fairy tale when we are like in the right fairy tale and that is true. Like, spirit is really guiding us and loving us through everything.
Yeah. It takes such faith too, because I remember you told me recently that there was a time where you really were not feeling well. You were kind of feeling ill. And then Gabrielle, you joined and kind of prayed, and Gabrielle said, yes, we're to go out for a drive. And you were thinking, a drive? I'm ill. Well, am I going to get into a car? And yet you were telling me that it turned into a miracle. That's why the guidance is so important. That the world would say, well, if you're ill, you should go to bed or just go to bed and take medicine. But the guidance had a whole other direction, and it turned into a wonderful experience too.
Yes, we were like in retreat. We were doing online retreat. I don't remember what was the theme. I think it was like two. I don't know, but we were like after the movie workshop. I felt all this discomfort and intensity arising up, and then I shared with Gabriel, and him feeling to drive. I need to drive, and I said, "Hey, let's go." He was like he was so certain and so like I don't know. He was so present, and I said, "Okay, I trust you, but I definitely not feeling right. I was really sick." And oh, now Elvis is here.
Oh, Elvis, the second one. Elvis could not miss this camera moment, this live moment.
He is a star. And when we went, he started to drive, and I have to put some music in the car, and then I opened the Spotify, and I think I pray like, okay, please give something here, and a shuffle. I had a playlist on Spotify called Frequência do Amor that I put all the songs that I see, and then many times I go to the playlist, and in the end, Spotify gives me suggestions of like other songs like, and I put that in the shuffle, and then appeared like a song from Jesus that was called "Take It."
That was it. That's how the drive turned out. Take it to Jesus.
Jesus, and was like, it is a beautiful powerful song, beautiful, beautiful. It's to Jesus. I think had like 3 minutes, and then I closed my eyes. Well, I need this time. And the song like, take this, take it to Jesus. And then I was like in this, and after I opened my eye, I felt nothing. Like everything was gone. That's the miracle.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That warms my heart. I think everyone needs to hear the miracle experiences because for most people, they experience such darkness. All their frailties, all their fears, all their vulnerabilities that were somewhat covered and hidden when you start practicing this Course in Miracles and really connecting with Jesus in the Spirit, then it just flushes everything up. And it's hard. It's almost like going down whitewater rafting, like in a rafting boat, like down the Amazon River. To use a Brazilian metaphor, people would say, yeah, be careful with rafting in the Amazon River during the rainy season because it can be such a strong current. But I think it's helpful to share all the miracles because then you start to realize that you are carried, even though it's at times the ego is judging it as a challenge. It's too much. The ego is saying, go back to the past. You at least had a somewhat stable life in the past, and now you're on the rapids, and how can this be good? The ego is always trying to put it down. So it's just a beautiful adventure. And then I think you were saying that you and Gabriel were thinking of having like a theater room in your new house for like movie watching. So yeah, well, I've kept that in mind. I thought, wow, if I come down, I've never been to Belo Horizonte, and that could be a fun movie retreat, like a Renovatio in Brazil. That would be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna love that. Gabriel is like saying this, like, oh, when their house would be ready, we're gonna open, have like an opening with David and blah, blah. He was like, he's so inspired with this project, drawing the house, and we're gonna have a movie room and a gathering room too. We are preparing a place to receive like many people. It's gonna have like many, and yeah, it sounds very innovative retreat.
That's great. That's great. Well, I know when we first connected here recently, a few days ago on Instagram, you were saying, well, yeah, I would like to, do an online talk together, maybe on your YouTube channel or Instagram or something, because you have a lot of things that you share with people, obviously in Portuguese, being in Brazil. So we'll have to do this again with somehow working translation. But I thought we could just have some fun today, because if you were doing translation to Portuguese for you and for me and the English, that seems like it's more complicated. But I think your English is great. Actually, I think everybody who's tuning in would say you've expressed yourself so well. So what a change from when you were in the hot tub with Gabriel and he was giving you the prophecy and it's like, stop. I'm just meditating in the hot tub. Don't tell me I'm going to be doing English talks with somebody who I don't even know. That was like way out of your comfort zone, but here it is. We pulled it off with Jesus's help. I think we pulled it off today.
So thankful for you, because I think my desire to understand you adds my English learning a lot. I think I want to understand him. I want to connect with him. I want to understand what you're saying, like everything. So definitely accelerate. And it's so beautiful, this state of mind that it's not my English gave me some confidence trust to and share from the heart. That's all that matters.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I think this is proof that if there's something in your heart and you really want and desire, then it makes it so much easier if you're really drawn to it. And I've always heard that with children, because I was in education for years. You know, children learn faster and retain more if they're interested in the topic. When I think I've been to China 7 times with Francis, and toward the end of those visits, there was a man who came. He actually came early on to a gathering I was doing, I think in maybe Beijing or Shanghai, and he was just begun university, and he was walking with me across the bridge, and he said, "Could I devote my entire life to this?" And I turned to him and I said, "Yes." And he said, "So I could quit university and devote my whole life to this?" And I said, "Yes, you could, if you really felt it, if it was like in your heart." And he did. And then he helped manage our website for China with all Mandarin. He managed that. And his name is Colin Dang. And then he basically was corresponding with Francis, writing these long emails in Mandarin. And of course, that was Francis's first language, but she hardly speaks Mandarin to anybody. So she would say to me, "He's writing these huge emails in Mandarin, and I can't even follow anymore. I'm mainly focused now using English." So she did say to Colin, she said, "Don't ever write to me again unless you can write in English." And he said, "So you're saying I need to learn a language? I need to learn English?" She said, "That's exactly what I'm saying." So he learned the whole language of English
To talk to her.
just to talk to her. And then he came to our Mexico community. He was there for a while. I think he's over in China right now, but he learned a whole new language, you know, just to communicate with her. And that just shows that when you really feel it's important, you will do it. And yeah, now I think your English is great. So here we are doing a live event, and I think everybody understood it. We only thing had one thing about neuro-linguistic programming, trying to get the letters in the right order. That's all we had, the whole thing. Oh,
Right. And maybe one friend here that is listening to us that speaks Portuguese too, and one volunteer to help us do this next gathering, translating for our Portuguese Brazilian, I don't know who's around the world.
We're calling on a bilingual English Portuguese translator for our next event. And then Instagram, well, we'll try to include that in YouTube. And then this one is going out onto a Portuguese Facebook page. So maybe if somebody watches this and they know Portuguese and English, maybe they could put subtitles on this. So the people who tune in go, "What are they doing on a Portuguese page talking English?" Please put the subtitles on if you can. That would really help us out too. Well, give my love to Gabriel and all the blessed brothers and sisters at your event. You've got an event today coming up, and I'm so glad you took the time to be here with me. And I always enjoy talking with you. So we just had our usual fun time.
Yeah. I love it. And yeah, it was really fun.
Thank you. Okay. Many blessings.
You too. Bye.